Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Women Crushing It Wednesdays. We have an exciting show tonight, and I'm so super excited. We got my girl Nika. Oh, I always point the wrong way. We got my girl Nika over here to my left, and we have Lukie Boxing down here on the bottom. He's here to talk about his new book, and I'm so excited. Yes. So, Inside the Ropes of Boxing. Mine's coming either tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure.
Mine is here Friday.
I think mine's coming Friday too. I'm not sure. 29th or Thursday. 29th or 30th. But yes, look at that book. So, Lukie, we're going to talk about that book. We're going to talk about where people can get it, can order it. And so, welcome. Thank you for coming on tonight. How are you feeling?
I mean, I basically begged y'all to have me on the show, so I appreciate you obliging me.
Absolutely
So
not.
I appreciate
Absolutely
that
not.
intro, but I appreciate more so that both of y'all purchased the book, because I'll make the announcement early. I want 2 supporters of this program to get the book for free. I'm going to take care of that, and I'm going to make sure that both of y'all get signed copies of this book. That's just the way we do this, but I want to continue the love that I'm receiving by coming to your program and giving more love, so then we can just have more love in this universe.
Well, that's the one that I'm going to keep. The sign.
Amazon is not the only place you can purchase it, because I purchased it off of Amazon. I'm not sure if you have other platforms that you're selling the book on. Is Amazon the only place?
Nike,
Yeah.
I kind of can't hear you. Can you hear her?
It sounds real bad, but I was trying to be real nice about it.
You're like...
Sounded like she was talking through a walkie-talkie.
So I know she said, is Amazon the only place that we can get this book?
Yeah, so what I did was I had to go through a distribution deal through Amazon because I didn't like the numbers. Basically, I took a chance on myself. So I could have done a distribution deal with a publisher, but I didn't like the amount of my goodwill that was being sold for the money I would get. I got a more favorable deal with Amazon, but I have to promote it myself. But I took a chance on myself, and I'm getting a lot of love. I'm sure inevitably love always turns to hate, but inevitably I'm overwhelmed. My birthday is next Tuesday, and I couldn't have asked for a better birthday present than just have people, because this book originally, I don't know if I've told y'all, this was my birthday present to myself. So this was a treat to myself. I finished it. My girlfriend edited it. My good buddy did the cover. This is a family project, and it's really like today. My friend Steve Rapadas called me. He read the book. He got it. Boop, liked it. He liked it. He goes, I'm buying 20 copies to give to the young kids at the gym. So it's like, I feel like because the intentions were pure, things are going good, because I'm trying to help the young kids, because as we all know, boxing is a sport where people overpromise, underdeliver, and exploit a lot of people. And I just don't want, especially poor young kids, to have to learn hard life lessons without a lot of financial stability, where they might go all in on this, and then a whole generation might have to climb back up. They might have so much financial risk in doing this. So really the point of the book is to kind of create an outline, not saying it's true, but this is what I see to be true, or roadmaps of boxing.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
So I don't need a new mic. All right. Cannabis for me.
It's okay. You're good. Nancy had mentioned before, she's like, I want a signed copy too. And we got somebody.
D-style. All right.
And Simonzo said, happy early birthday. Oh, look who we've got.
That's my guy. That's D-Styles.
Man, what is up? How are you doing?
And I'm on mute. All right.
No, get off mute.
Yeah, no. How's it going, man? Shout out to Lukie, by the way. All right. And of course,
my guy.
For sure.
Nike. Shout out to Christine.
Hey, D-Style.
Most definitely. What's up, brother? So, Lukie, I had a question. What inspired you to write a book? Because, yes, there's many that love boxing. I love boxing. That's been my life for over 20 years. Once you get bitten by the bug, that's it. You're forever bitten. But what would inspire you to take it a step further and write a book?
I just want to say beforehand, I'm sticking to the blueprint. I'm drinking while the show's on because you
Good.
encourage
You have
drinking.
to
So
stick
I'm
to the
just
blueprint.
I'm
Yes.
just saying I
Vodka
want.
and apple juice.
Okay, I thought you were drinking like
No.
a
I'm not a
kid's
champ,
juice.
but
That
you know,
that
No,
keep
this
in
is
mind.
apple juice and vodka.
I'm drinking because I'm an alcoholic, but hey, you know, it's all good.
okay.
Like it's
So
like I'm healthy, but not that healthy.
here's the point of why I wrote the book was Frank Stay is a good friend of mine, and Frank just called me one time, and he just said, "Bro, you need to write 2 books before you pass on." Me and all my friends, we always think about dying and death a lot. That's kind of where our minds always go. We always
Oh,
kind of are driven by that. It's
Yeah,
kind of deep, but that's just like where
I
we
can
go.
relate. I can relate.
So I don't know. I just sat on my bed, wrote 70 pages, then finished the book, wrote 210, and my girlfriend changed it to 117 because she felt like if you're making a book about boxing and it's like a helpful thing to study the game, she said people aren't going to read it if it's too long. So let's make it the most concise, most well-rounded version. So it was very humbling because I wanted to write a long book, and she said, "No, that's not what people want. People want the most informative,
Yes.
helpful, concise book possible." So that's how I wrote this.
That is very true. That's very smart. Even with our shows, like we try not to go over, like we'll go an hour. Sometimes if we're very excited and things are going great, we'll do an hour and 15 minutes or whatever. But people's attention span is not what we think it is.
Yeah.
And we
You know,
did
so
big
let's
font. We did a
get
big
to the
font,
content.
so it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what we try
unless
to
you're
do.
the round table and you go 2 hours, but other than that, you know what I mean.
Unless you're the round table, but you know.
You see, you know, for the
And I
blind
love
people,
big
like
words.
for the
I need
blind
that.
people, for myself, that actually is very helpful to have a big font.
And we talked to a lot of my friends, right? Because like people don't think about this type of stuff. It's like while I'm doing an audiobook for this, there's a lot of people that want this book, but they're ashamed to say they can't read. So it's like you got to hit it by all means. And I don't want someone to have to come out and be like embarrassed, like, oh man, I don't know how to read or I struggle reading. So it's like I'm trying to hit all angles, but I don't want people feeling uncomfortable about maybe a learning disability. As I told you before, I was in special ed for super long. So I don't want people feeling uncomfortable to try to obtain knowledge I'm trying to get out there.
Wow, I love that. Like I so love
That's
that.
very
because-
true. There's a lot of people that maybe they know how to read words, but they can't
Right.
keep they're not concentrated while they're reading. You know,
Right.
it's a very real thing. I know friends that very smart, but they needed a lot of tutoring, like even in college, and help with like reading a lot of stuff. So that's
You
a
know,
real thing.
I love audiobooks. You know, Mike Tyson's life story, I have it in audiobook, and sometimes I'll just play it and try to go to sleep while listening to the book. So, you know, audiobooks are very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Is it in
Yeah.
Tyson's voice? Is he the one
No,
talking
no,
in
it's
the book?
not. It's not in his voice.
Oh, come on.
It's a very interesting story. So, like someone reading the book to me, I don't know. For some reason, it's kind of
I'm the
soothing.
same.
It's
I'm
very
the same.
soothing. So,
It is very soothing.
Back in the year 1983, I was a young man. Like, you know, that would be great.
let's lay back on Mike Tyson. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
He's great. I love Tyson.
Get off her guy. Get off her guy.
So I'm gonna give you guys an exclusive right here. This is something that just came in the text message. So
Okay.
I don't know if you can see who that is. Do you see who that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uncle
we're gonna-
Bob.
Victor Conti here from Snack System.
Wait.
It's Victor Conti here from Snack System, and I want to give a quick shout out to Lukie Cattell and his new book, Inside the Ropes of Boxing. It's a great book. It's probably needs to be called Boxing 101 because it covers everything from A to Z. He did a
Okay, I gotta save the rest
that's
for social
Uncle Bob.
media.
That's
Yeah,
Uncle Bob. You know my glasses need to be cleaned.
I thought that was Bob Arum because
Yeah,
I don't
did
have my
too at
glasses
first.
on either.
Yeah.
Well, that was Victor Conti, but I mean,
Yes,
to me,
Victor
that's
Conti.
someone who's been very influential in my life. But I just wanted to give you guys, so that's real time, something that the world hasn't even seen.
Thank you. I was going to say, so I've seen that you've done some other interviews, and I think it's fabulous because people want to have you on the show. People are excited about your book, and that makes me so happy because we want all of our friends to succeed. But give us something that nobody else has, like something, a little nugget, something.
I mean, there's a lot. Like, there's a few times I've almost gotten murdered covering boxing, like literally murdered. Those are pretty decent stories, but I don't know. Here's a good one that's like kind of forgettable. Well, actually, I'll go with Steve Rapatis. Let's go happy. Let's not go with the dark stuff. So my okay, so let's go happy. So my grandfather died, and I was right. So like, let's go happy. My grandfather died. He's like my best friend. He introduced me to boxing. Feeling like this incredible grief I had never felt in my life. Local promoter Paco Damian, who's putting on a show October 29th. Don Chargin Productions. Don was very nice to me when I started out in this business, and Don basically built a blueprint for me to see what the sport was. He calls me to go visit a gym, Midtown Fitness in Sacramento. Midtown Fitness is just a fantastic boxing gym ran by Steve Rapatis. I go in, and Steve just shows me unconditional love. I think he gave me like $10 to show up. I got like a little money to go down there, but I did an interview to promote his fight. But the big thing is, Steve, from that interaction, I'll always remember it because he became a lifelong friend. There's more steps to it, but I'll always remember I lost my grandfather, but within a week I got Steve. Wow. Because it was like that type of thing. And I mean, I think that's an easy story for me to overlook because it seemed kind of inconsequential, but it is kind of really consequential because me and Steve are very close friends. It's kind of like how Guy Robb, there's a fighter named Guy Robb. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar, but Guy Robb's one of my favorite fighters because Guy Robb has opened up more doors for me than anyone. Guy Robb, when I write my next book, is going to write the foreword, and then I'm going to show him how to do this, and he's going to write his own book. That's the deal we got. I'm going to teach him how to do it because, but Guy introduced me to one of my best friends, Celso Sanchez, who's Gabriel Flores' photographer. He came to take photos of Guy right before the Miguel Mariaga fight. No one else besides John Responti showed up. Me and Celso hit it off. We're just like-minded individuals. What I'm saying is a lot of times I can look back at one story, but a lot of it is about the ebbs and flows and the moments of bonding with other human beings and how that one moment turns into comfort and you find like-minded individuals because boxing to me is the sport of outcasts. We all don't really fit in, and then we fit in together because we know what it feels like to be alone.
Absolutely.
So it's like when you find someone whose spirit is so closely aligned with you, those are the moments I try to preserve more so than the negative moments because I got plenty of negative, plenty of positive, but I'm in this. I guess those are moments I'd never share with anyone because I'd almost feel like they're inconsequential, but I should probably value them more.
Well, I love what you're saying about the misfits because that is so true. I mean, everybody who's involved in boxing, they have a story, they have a backstory. And then you get the bullies, like on the playground, the snakes that slither in there and take advantage of the misfits, because they feel like, okay, they've been through certain things or whatever, so I can use them to capitalize on whatever it is they're trying to get, like whether it be money or fame or whatever. But I so agree with you about the misfits because everybody that I've talked to and people that I know, including myself, has something in their life or some time in their life where they didn't quite fit in. But boxing welcomes everyone, and boxing accepts you.
Well,
I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts about that?
Well, I'll just say this. I'll be as brief as I can, but very similar. But I lost my grandfather back in 2009, and he's the one person I watch boxing with. Right, every Friday, we would watch. He called them the Tecate fights. There were the fights that. Yeah, in Spanish TV, and we would watch a lot of the young Mexican prospects. We would watch Friday night fights on ESPN. I would invite him to my house to watch. I would bring him over. I would go pick him up and everything. And he was the one person. He's the one person that would watch every fight with me, not just the big events. And he passed away. And I found that there was a lot of my friends, they watched the big boxing fights, but they didn't give a shit about the prospects and Friday night fights. Right. They just didn't care. So I found people on the internet. I found people here on YouTube. And in the early days of YouTube, it wasn't content creators and guys interviewing fighters and all that. All that stuff's great. But in the beginning, it was just people that found other people that were talking boxing. That's literally all it was. There was no live shows. You could only upload. You could not do show any video longer than 15 minutes. It was very limited, but people, you had the ability to not just leave comments but respond with videos. So we would respond to each other, and I got to know a lot of people, from Joe Habib, that's how I met him, Ashy Knuckles, that's how I met him, Blood Boxing, that's how I met him. It was just a community of people just talking boxing. That's literally all it was. And I was just happy to, like, from my perspective, if I could like talk about a fight and like 20 people listen to what I had to say, that's more than I could find here. I can't go like to the mall over here and be like, "Hey guys, let me tell you about this prospect." Like nobody's gonna stop and listen to me, right? So
Yeah, right.
I valued that, and so that's all I had to say.
You're
When
definitely a pioneer, though, for sure, for this
I was
YouTube
thinking
stuff.
about this the other day, like every inconsequential moment of your life might be a great moment in hindsight. So it's like we might sit here and think this was just a random Wednesday night, but this might actually be a moment where at some point we look back and go, man, that was cool that we all got together, like-minded individuals, and we set aside a time and we got to know each other better. So as I mature more, my birthday's coming up, that's something I'm trying to be way better at.
I love it. I love it. What do you think, Nika? What does boxing do? Like, do you think it brings like all the misfits together, or more like-minded people? What do you think?
Look, so I've loved boxing since I was a little kid because my mom is a boxing fan, and that was the only time I was able to like stay up late and like watch
Yeah.
something with her, like on a Saturday night. So I was always excited when like Mike Tyson was fighting. It was like a big fight
Yeah.
because we would always gather, and I was like, "Ooh, I get to stay up late," you know. But then, like as I got older, I've always watched boxing. Even my ex-husband, he's just like, why you like boxing? He was never a boxing fan, but it's just like, do your thing. Like, let me do mine and you do your thing.
Right, right.
But then
right.
I don't know how I fell on boxing Twitter, but to be honest, I think boxing Twitter is the worst thing that I ever fell into. Because the misfits, and like the people who swear they know boxing and they are in boxing Twitter, and they just say anything, you know. I do enjoy some of the people that I have interacted with on boxing Twitter, but then there's like the other half, the other side of boxing Twitter where people think they know everything. They want to, get into it. You troll you, you know. I don't know where that's gone, but like I love people who are genuinely boxing fans who love the sport. So that's the only thing I can take away from boxing Twitter. But I just love boxing. I think it. I actually really just initially fell in love with it because I was able to stay up late and watch something with my mom.
Right.
But I grew to love it, and that was just like that's how I fell into boxing.
And
So,
that's a great thing. So,
yeah.
and y'all kind of like highlighted the reasons why y'all love boxing. I'm not gonna. The first Rocky came out. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna age myself. I was 6 years old, and I saw it. I was in love with it. My grandfather on my dad's side was a boxer. He was very decorated in the amateurs and the pros. And then on my mom's side, my cousin was a world champion. It was just like I'm the only girl out of four boys, and I was just like that was my thing. I have loved it since I was 6 years old, and I was bitten, and there's no turning back.
That's why I miss HBO boxing, because that's
Oh
the time that I was like introduced to boxing, and that's
yeah.
that's how I fell in love with the sport. So I really do miss HBO boxing. I don't know about anybody else, but I miss it so so
Oh,
much.
Yeah.
Oh man.
do you think that whenever something dies, like when someone dies, that we like memorialize them and make them better than they were, or do you think yes, since HBO is gone, nothing can compare to that? What do y'all think?
I just think it's gonna hit to the heart, right? It's gonna hit to the heart of like, I still in my head, I still have like the music, the HBO Boxing After Dark. I hated the one they had in the last 2 years, but
Yeah.
besides that, like that's something that I think anyone who's been watching boxing their whole life will remember that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still remember Jim Lampley's voice, and even I didn't always like what they were saying, but I
Right.
became so used to it, and they were good at calling the action.
Yeah.
I may not have always agreed with what they were saying, but I'm talking about like the emotion, like putting the
Yeah, you
emotion
know,
out there.
Jim Lampley is like he's emotional. He cries. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
I'm a
Oh,
crier too. I'm an emotional
yes.
person. I like so when
Yeah,
he cries, I don't even I just felt his pain, especially when he was doing like
Yes.
the last show. I
Yeah.
cried when he
Oh,
was
that was
crying. I was just like,
bad.
oh, you know.
I thought they were good at what they did, and
Yeah.
to this day, no one could touch them as far as production. Nobody.
That's true.
Like
Mhm.
I agree.
camera work, the production, all of it. Nobody could touch them till this day.
So let me ask. I want to go around. So we're going to ask what comes close. Like who comes close to that? Lukie, is there anybody that comes close to HBO? Boxing After Dark. Anybody?
I mean, for me, no, because I grew up on HBO boxing, so it just that feeling. The highest production level to me is ESPN because I like Andre Ward and Tim Bradley's analysis. So I feel like that's
I think
the
we always
most
agree.
Well, and it's like people don't like these Kriegel pieces, but at least they're doing stuff to build me into the fight, and there's like some theatrics. DAZN has long gaps. Like I thought DAZN would be HBO, and it's just so not HBO.
Ooh, I hate it.
And like Showtime and Fox, it's like they're too inconsistent with their schedule where it's like, okay, Showtime's doing a card and they're gone for a month. Fox does a card, when are they coming back? So I don't even have a relationship with them currently based around what they're presenting. It's just, it feels, boxing's in a weird place. It feels like it's darkest before dawn. It feels like it's about to get darker and then we're probably going to be in a good place.
It's in a valley, right? Like
it
that's where
is. Nika, is there anybody that comes close to you? Like, what do you think? Who comes
I'm
close
gonna
to
agree
HBO
with
boxing?
Lukie. I think ESPN is probably the closest, but
Yeah.
like to be honest, I don't really think any of the networks compare to them to HBO boxing. They're always gonna be up there. Like that's the bar that was set. Nobody's touched it so far. So
Apex
nobody.
Mountain.
yeah.
I agree.
So, yeah.
I
I
agree.
will say this about the zone. It's not saying much. The production has gotten better, like way better. It used to be atrocious. It was like amateur hour. Like it was bad. I watched that AJ Povetkin fight, and I'm looking at AJ's back the whole time. I
Yeah.
mean, the angles
you're
were
right.
atrocious. So they got better with that. They're slowly getting better. I think the matchroom cards are actually pretty decent in terms of production value. They're better than when Golden Boy is on the zone. It is what it is. But I do agree ESPN is probably because they're a sports entity, maybe. But I do agree they're the closest to HBO. But they're not boxing specialists, though. They do all sports. And since they're not specialists at it, that's why they don't quite fit that mold.
So, Disa, you said that the production has gotten better, but let me ask you: whenever the fights are going on, do you turn the volume down, or
I don't like listen. I'm not a fan of like. First of all, Mora, not every hook's a check hook. Okay, that's number one. I stopped calling every fucking hook a check hook. It's embarrassing because he should know better. Like he's a former prize fighter. He should know this, you know.
well,
But
Look at this troll right here. Look at this troll.
but
This troll
but
right here.
but I'll say this though, like I'm not a fan of this. Like if I'm paying pay-per-view, like if I'm gonna fork out an extra $65 on top of
We
my
gotta
subscription.
change that number D to about 115 because that's about to be the price for pay-per-view. 60,
Well,
I'd be
well,
glad.
that's
to
even
do.
115.
But if I'm
Yeah, that
forking
was
out my
the
money,
question.
if I'm forking out money, I want the whole experience. I want to know what the corner's saying. I don't want to go to commercial. What are you going to commercial for? That's why I paid for it.
Right.
You're going to commercial? Like, what are you doing over here? I feel like they're giving me the dip and they're double dipping while I'm trying to get the dip too. Like, no. Like, this is my dip. Okay? Like stay away from it. That's how every time they play a commercial, like they're going to my dip. Like, you know, like, whoa, what's going on? Like, no, I'm paying. If you're going to make me pay for it, don't put commercial. That HBO never did that. We got to hear everything.
I really miss
Like,
HBO.
That's true.
and I even miss like the horrible because they did have a horrible Spanish like interpreter, but he was so fun to listen to, you know, because like they'll be like, "Ándale, pégale con el jab, y luego con la izquierda," and
Spanglish.
like
Spanglish,
the commentator would be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, get him." Go
Yeah,
after
so
him.
true.
They're gonna rob us. Like what? He didn't say that. Like what the? But I loved it though. Like the
Yeah, but he
energy
did
was
not say
there.
that. Like, yeah, exactly. The
Come
translator was
on. He
So,
don't want any of us. Like what? He didn't say that.
so Lukie, MJ has a question for you. She wants to know who
Writing
is this?
Yogi.
Yeah, Writing Yogi. Sorry, Writing Yogi, aka MJ. She wants to know who is this book mainly for.
I mean, I think the answer is for everybody. If you want to be
Good
a
answer.
boxer, is for you. If you're a fan, I think it's a good way to think about the sport, to have empathetic understanding for the fighter's journey. I think it's also good to not villainize promoters, because it gives you perspective on why the promoters are doing things. It gives you perspective on the managers do things. I truly believe boxing has a lot of good people, that just the lack of money in the sport brings out the worst in people. So I'm just trying to explain the system, because boxing is a sport where talent alone will not dictate the outcome. You have to also be able to
Facts.
navigate the system along with having talent. So anyone who finds that type of idea interesting, that's who this book is for.
So let me ask you. So I want to expound on that. So to navigate, so are you saying, do you believe that it's who you know? Do you believe it is money? Because there are many talents out there that can never make it on the big stage because they don't have the backing, because maybe they don't have the right managers. They don't know certain people. Like, what specifically do you talk about when you talk about navigating?
Well, I think it's political capital is the big thing. And you got to remember, Machiavelli's The Prince is my favorite book. And I'm a big fan of the Richard Caro LBJ Senate series, where he's talking about his rise to power and how he controlled the Senate. So I look at it as very much political leveraging of how can you leverage situations to get the greatest outcome, because there's tons of people who have had money behind them and been very unsuccessful. It's about how you can politically navigate these waters and figure out the way to best put yourself in a situation with like-minded individuals who can give you the best outcome for your talent and where you're at currently.
Okay. So I will say that I've been in forums where a manager should show up to a certain meeting, and the ones that do say, you know what, my guy is ranked number 15, but I think he should be on the top 10. And okay, so you want your guy to be moved to the top 10. Well, the guys that are on the top 10, their managers are not here. So we're going to take that into consideration. But the night before, or the 2 nights before, I see these same managers at dinner with the powers that be. So absolutely, it's political. I've seen it all. It's crazy. You've got these kids that are working their asses off to be world champs, to have some notoriety. They depend on their managers, but not all managers have the money to go to these meetings or go to these conventions or go to these dinners or take these promoters out. Have you seen that side? And what do you think about
For
that?
sure. I mean, that's always like, boxing is a business and it's political, and everything can be weaponized, right? So like your words you use, the words I can use, someone will take these very words if I do something they don't like and
Yeah,
find a way to weaponize these words I'm saying right now to
for
use them
sure.
against me.
For sure.
That's the world
Yeah.
we live in. So because of that, there's always going to be hurdles, right? Especially if you're a young manager, this or that. Money will always be a helpful thing, because it can give you a stipend. It can potentially give donations. We'll use the word donations to sanctioning bodies, and then all of a sudden your ranking changes, right? All of a sudden you're on these cards suddenly when those sanctioning bodies are fighting. All of a sudden, but I don't think money is the exclusive thing, because I've seen also people like Herb Stone, who I mentioned in this book, who was like a mentor to me. He never did any of that. And he was able to build roadmaps with people based off of relationships. I
Love
think
that.
we want to also fantasize that there's a quick fix through money, but I think also people that do a lot of relationships without making human relationships with people and having family oriented relationships with people in the boxing industry, they're not well received. Like we say, okay, they have money, But I think all of us are always kind of like there's trepidation around those individuals. Like, why
Sure.
aren't they creating a family atmosphere? Why aren't the people around them? Why is it only just such a few people and all that? So I think that money is a key factor at a certain point,
It
but I
gets you in
don't
the
think it's the only factor.
right. No, I totally agree because it will get you in the door, but then your boxer also has to perform. Like your boxer also has to do what your money said he was going to do. And then after that, if you're not making the promoter money as a manager, then the money doesn't matter. So
Well, I think also the way I look at it is like the manager is the first line of defense for the fighter from the promoter. So the fighter
Yes.
should never be in a weird
Should be,
position with the
yes.
promoter. Like,
Right.
let's just say Spence Crawford. If whoever the promoter or whoever the manager is on both sides, it's their job to take the blame for anything that the media would look at. They're the deflection, they're the deterrent in some ways of the fighter not taking any ridicule because they're the one that's managing this thing to get them the most capital gain. The manager is there to present opportunities, to be the line of defense, and to maximize your profit margin.
Remy says, so Canelo should have taken the Bivol judges to dinner. Maybe. Maybe.
Well, who
Maybe
said
he did
didn't?
it.
Maybe he just didn't take them where they wanted to go.
go,
No.
yeah.
You know what? We hate to think about it, but
You never know, right?
then, back in the day, like boxing was controlled by the mafia. You know, and now it's you know, business owners, management companies, networks, whatever. There are only a very few handful of promotional companies that have the network deals. And the managers that have relationships with them are the ones that are going to get their guys on TV. It is what it is. It is what it is. Unfortunately, fortunately, whatever. That's the business of it all. That's the part that's kind of sticky and hurts. You know?
And why would a promoter sign a fighter if they don't have a manager they don't work with, right? That's the catch-22.
Right.
You need the manager to get in the door. That's part of why they serve their function as well.
As you were talking about. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it has to be win-win for the promoter. Nika, what do you think on this subject? Do you think it's all just, hey, you're the best, so you're going to get in there and fight the best, or is there this stuff that goes behind the scenes? Like, what do you see?
There's so much behind the scenes. Oh my God. It's who you know, it's I can never be in the boxing business. Even though I love boxing, I could not be in the business because first of all, I have a short temper. I have, like I don't have patience. Like there's just too much that goes on behind the boxing, for these fights that,
there is.
It's unreal. Like I commend people that are actually in the boxing business and have the patience to deal with all of the shady shit that goes on.
I think it's craziness.
You have to be half crazy to be in the boxing business, in my opinion. Like, and you have to have a patience. So saying like I don't have it, so I'm just a spectator, and I'm gonna stay that way. I will never get into the business of boxing. I'll just be enjoying it from the outside.
What do you think about the business? I mean, like, do you think everything we see is just it is what it is, or?
Well, no. I mean, look, I think it's vital and it's extremely important for boxing fans to be fans. Like it is important as boxing fans to acknowledge that we are the demand in this business. So if it's a business, we're the demand. So if we don't want to fight, we need to voice that out. It's not our place to understand where the manager's coming from or understand the perspective of the promoter. I'm not saying we shouldn't be aware of these things or understand them, but it should be our place to demand. Like, I shouldn't give a shit if a promoter's going to lose money if a fight that I want to see happens.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't think that a lot of these fans online, like when a fight is announced or not announced, like a lot of these fans, they become managers, they become promoters, they become financial advisors, they become, like.
Well, here's what I'll say. Like, I think a lot of these fans are fans of like there's fighters that I like, and I honestly believe this. We all have fighters we prefer, and we have favorites. I honestly believe that. I don't believe anyone who says that they're neutral all the way and they don't have any favorite. I think they're full of shit. But with that said, it's important to put the sport first, and it's important to, as a fan, I'm speaking as a fan, to push for the fights that you want to see, to push for the best to fight the best. That's our purpose in this whole thing.
That's what we want as fans.
That's what we're supposed to deliver. But here's the problem, though. Like, I feel like of course, it makes me nervous when one of my favorite fighters is about to fight someone that I know could beat them. You know what I mean? Like, of course it does. But I still want to see it. Like, I still feel it's important to see it.
Give us examples.
well, look, like I've always been a big Canelo fan. It made me very nervous.
She wanted you to say Canelo. But
here's the thing. Like, when he fought Bivol, I said, "Man, really?" Like, but I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it." So, but just in general, I like that butterflies in my stomach, that nervous feeling before the bell rings. I live for that. I want that. I would rather one of my favorite fighters go in there, put it on the line and lose, then
for sure
not fight somebody because I'm too scared that they might lose. Because it's not that serious to me. I love the sport, but like, I don't like if a fighter loses, he loses, or she loses, whatever. Okay. Marlene Esparza. I'm a fan of Marlene Esparza. If she goes in there and if she loses the fight, she loses the fight.
I'm a fan of her.
If she loses the fight,
but he still has an engagement ring in the safe. Like,
no, but I'm a fan of her, and I definitely, she definitely went up on my list when she beat Sulem. So.
I guess all I'm trying to say is that a lot of fans, not all fans, don't live for that. Like, they'll rather, like, a lot of Spence fans, I feel, would rather the fight with Crawford not happen because they don't want to deal with the reality that he might lose. Like, and to me, it's like, like, I think Crawford will win. I'm going to go for Crawford. I'd rather the fight happen and Spence wins
than never know.
Than it not happen. That's where I am as a boxing fan, but that's me.
I agree.
So that leads me to Lukie's question on Twitter. He said the $100 pay-per-views, like, they're coming. I think we've had one.
Are they, man?
I think we've had at least one $100.
Yeah, at least Floyd Pacquiao was that, and Floyd was McGregor 100.
I think it was 100.
Yes, exactly. So I just want to go around the table. Like, who would you pay to see, and who would you pay to see $100 on a pay-per-view? Like who's worth your $100? And I'm gonna start with you, Nika. Who's worth your $100? What matchup is worth $100 to you on pay-per-view?
I think the Crawford and Spence fight, I would pay $100 for that because I've been waiting for this fight for fucking God knows how long. It's just been cooking in the oven and shit. The meat is dry, it's overcooked. Like, this fight is overdue. So I would pay.
Done.
That would be the only fight maybe I can think of to pay $100. But other than that, you shouldn't be charging us $100 to watch nobody fight. Like, come on now.
Absolutely. What about you, Lukie? Who would you pay pay-per-view $100?
I want to see Boots versus Terrence. Those are two of my favorite fighters. So I want to see Boots versus Terrence.
Wow, I like that. Edgy.
Okay.
But after the Bud Spence for me.
I mean,
but I
call it what you want. That's the fight I want. And
I like it.
Maybe Terrence versus Jermell Charlo. That's another one that I'd like to see because I know that those two couldn't stand each other. Yeah. And now, as a fan, there's nothing more than you like seeing two alpha males just hating each other.
Oh,
just makes it.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I do too. Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. I pay $100 on each of those. D Styles, what about you? Who are you going to pay $100 for pay-per-view to see? Fury
Usyk. Like that's the first one that came to mind.
Another good
and by the way, all the disrespect throwing Usyk's way because Joyce beat Parker. Like, Parker's the second best heavyweight in the world. I've seen this shit on Twitter. Y'all full of shit. Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. Usyk at the least number 2. That's at the least.
Oh,
all right, but yes, that's the fight I would like to see.
No, for sure. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, those are all good. Like, I'm gonna go broke because I would pay $100 for all those. Definitely. Definitely. So I also want to ask, so Nika, do you think we're gonna see Spence and Bud this year?
Yes, yes, I do. I don't know when. I don't think it's gonna be November 19th because we're pushing up on it. But a little birdie told me that they're just kind of like deciding if it should be at the MGM or at the Raiders Stadium.
Uh-huh.
Because of the crown. So that was the only thing that was left for the fight to be announced. So I don't know, but I think it's gonna happen. But damn, shit's taking forever. I ain't gonna lie. I have anxiety, so like shit's bothering the fuck out of me. Oh,
It's probably
Luke,
boxing's
what do you
fault.
think? Is it happening, Lukey? Is it gonna happen in
I
this
mean,
year?
I
Or do
don't,
you think
I
it's gonna?
don't, I'm not gonna put my energy into this. They're both grown men and they're millionaires. I just want to see the fight. I'd love to see the fight. It would hurt my feelings if they don't fight, but I'm not gonna sit and cry about it. But I want to see these two fight because these are the two best fighters. I sure hope so, but it's also at the same time I gotta get mines. So I mean, it's I just hope for the good of everything because I like Terrence and I like Boots. So I want to see Terrence and I want to see Boots. So
That's a nice fight. That's a nice fight. It is a nice fight. D style, is it gonna happen this year?
It's not gonna happen because we never get what we want.
Wah, wah,
You ever hear
wah.
that song like you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Like boxing, like you don't get what we want and we don't get what we need. Like we don't get anything. You know what I mean? But it's been a good year though. But I just don't think it's gonna happen. Like it just if it was gonna happen, they would have announced it by now, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay.
I want
I
I
don't know.
want Thurman versus Boots. Can we announce Mr. Catch a Body versus a Keith one time Thurman?
Thurman don't want it.
But
Man, let
that's
me
terrible.
tell you
Them
something,
retire,
Lucky.
sir.
I'm
Them
just
retire,
not
sir.
a
I
fan
agree.
of Thurman. I would not be excited about that fight. I would not pay for that fight. I wouldn't. I would
I
be in the
understand that.
building, but I just that wouldn't. I understand. I think Boots needs to fight somebody with a name. I do, and I think he's
I
very.
agree.
I've seen him. I've seen him fight. I see his technique. He passes the eye test. He is like the shit. But he needs to fight somebody. So okay, if we're gonna start him out with Keith, that's fine. But will I be so super excited about it? No. It'll just be a
But
fight.
that's Keith's fault, right? Because Keith
Oh, for
does
sure.
nothing to get us excited. Like accolade wise, Keith has accomplishments. But the issue, because like I really like D Styles and Calix Boxing. They have great talks. And like a
Yes, they
great
do.
point they bring up is like Boots doesn't have the accomplishments. And I agree, he doesn't have the accomplishments,
I
but there's
agree.
no other guy that when I watch him, I get childlike joy. Like it's
Right.
like Boots is in the ring. I'm jumping up and down, doing jumping jabs and
Yeah.
burpees and all types of stuff because I'm so excited to see Boots fight. So I just want to see what his ceiling is. It's almost like
Same.
Joe Joyce, right? I
Yeah.
want to see the guy that can knock down Joe Joyce because I want to
Right.
know if this guy just has a what did Wolverine have? What was the
Adamantium.
metal? What was that metal called?
Adamantium.
Yeah, I can't say that word. So he had one of those chins, or is there a ceiling to the power? That's what I want to see. I want these type of unanswered questions, not kind of rehashed fights.
Right. Because looking at him, he's got skill. I mean, he's got hellacious skill, and he's doing amazing with everybody in front of him. But yeah, I get it. I want to see him tested too. So C Monzo says Boots and Bud at 147 or 154.
Well, I'll take either,
yeah, give
and
me
I think
something,
they'll
right?
take either too.
Give me something.
Okay. Yeah.
Just hey, talk to the management teams and just let them agree on whichever one they want, and then I'll say okay, cool deal.
Either way, catch weight, whatever. Let's just do it. No, that would be a great fight. It really would. I want to ask y'all. So speaking of Bud, and Spence, do you believe? And I'm going to go around the panel that your lifestyle has a lot to do with how you perform in the ring. And
Yes.
I'm going to start. Okay, I'm gonna start with Lukie.
Yes.
Okay, yes, and why?
That's why I've always taken Bud over Errol, because Bud's a savage. Bud's a killer. Bud lives a disciplined life to be able to beat the living hell out of someone. He does
Yes.
not allow himself to have as much fun as possible because he wants to be able to beat the hell out of someone. And that is the thing that can be a difference in a big fight. And people are overlooking just how mean Terrence is. And I appreciate him so much for being that mean. I absolutely love it.
And I'm gonna just I'm gonna piggyback off of you. It's so true because he you said that he doesn't allow himself to have fun. He really does, but he does it in a different way. Like anytime I'm around
He's high
him,
off life.
and
He's high off
and
life.
anybody
He
that knows
doesn't-
him, he freaking has fun everywhere he goes. I mean, he's making jokes, he's playing pranks, he's beating everybody in whatever game they want to ask to challenge him at. Like he is having fun, but he just doesn't have fun in the same way. He doesn't need that, you know. So what about you, D Style? Do you think that what you do outside of the ring really affects what you do in the ring?
I mean, I think that's true about everything in life. I would imagine even boxing as well. But when you get guys that are extremely naturally talented, could someone extremely naturally talented do better, than someone who's not, even though they're not disciplined, the other person is? Yes. But then you have guys that have both, that they're naturally talented, and then they also have the discipline and they live the fighter's lifestyle. That's how you get your Muhammad Ali's. That's how you get a Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like those are those great fighters. You know what I mean? And the ones that had that complete career from beginning to end, like especially, right? Because you look at someone who I idolized as a kid, Julio Cesar Chavez. You know what I mean? But once he got in his 30s, he was in his cocaine binges. And was he talented enough to beat a lot of guys? Sure. But he wasn't the same anymore. That's why at age 36, his peak was gone. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's so, yes, it matters. It's just that some fighters get away with it because they're so talented. So they beat guys.
Very short.
It's going to be shorter for sure. If you're not
the candle's burning at both ends.
Exactly.
Yeah, and De La Hoya's another one. De La Hoya started hot, and then he started having issues. I mean, we keep it real. That the guy was. I mean, he tells a story before his fight with Chavez that when he was up in the morning, he was getting ready to do road work, and Chavez is showing up in a limo, like with 3 women, going to the hotel while he's getting ready to go for a run. It's not shocking to know that De La Hoya won that fight. You know what I mean? But then De La Hoya had his own issues later on. I mean, before the Pacquiao fight, he was going through his binges, and I think it showed in the ring.
Yeah, for sure. Before I ask you, Nike, I was just going to say, Boxing Republic said, I'm related. Coolio died. He was 59. So I actually knew him kind of well back in the 20s. So this is very sad. I hate to hear that. Thank you for sharing that.
I can't believe that. It's crazy. It's one of my favorite songs, too.
Absolutely.
Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah, for sure. Nika, what you do outside of the ring, do you feel that it affects you in the ring?
Absolutely. I believe that Terrence Crawford, he's one of those fighters or just like individuals who is high off life. He's like a natural competitor. His fun is just like competing with people at ping pong, basketball, like anything,
Lady
like push-ups, like he gets high off of that, like that's his thing. And not for nothing, Errol Spence, he's a drinker. And I feel like
he's got a cool chain. I do think Spence got him on the chain, though. As a guy that's got a big ring on my finger, I do think I like Terrence in the ring, but I think Errol's got the nicer jewelry. I'm just gonna say that.
That's not gonna help you in the
ring. Who would I have a better time with at the club?
That might help you.
Errol. I like Terrence, but I think Errol would be a lot of fun.
That might help you when you lose the fight, or you got a black eye. You need to put the chain in the freezer, and then you can hold it over your eye, like maybe that, But like outside the ring, what you do definitely affects you in the ring. Like somebody who's drinking all the time, is gonna affect you. Like so.
Absolutely, it does, because it's like when do you stop? When do you stop? Like, I mean, each fight is like, oh, I'm winning, so maybe I don't have not to quit as early as I did last time. And, you know, it starts to affect you. And I love Errol Spence. I do. Like I said, y'all know
We're just
he
stating
was a
facts
kid.
though. He
I
was.
Didn't he
love
cut
him.
back on all that though?
I'm not gonna lie. I still hear some rumors about him still drinking. You know,
Yeah,
but I'm not
don't
gonna
forget I
name
live in
sources.
Dallas.
But
Mm.
that affects you in the ring. So,
It really does.
and I feel like Terrence Crawford. I don't know if it's because he's so dedicated to boxing, or is that's just the person that he is. That he's just high off life. That he just likes competition at anything, and he's
He
satisfied with
absolutely
that,
is
or it's
gifted.
just
It was like
But
he was born and like Zeus hit him with like the lightning rod, and like he's just like the champ. Like to me,
He reminds me of like a
he's
Navy
something.
SEAL, Crawford. Like where it's like
Yeah.
he's just like he wakes up to do athletic things and beat people up, and then like he'll figure out ways to have fun in the process of doing
Yeah,
workouts
and
and
he
beating up
does.
people.
Beating people up gives him pleasure. Winning at everything he does gives him pleasure. I mean, it really does. It's funny. It's wicked. There's a picture of us like together, and he like tricked me. I told him that my husband could beat him at chess, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And so they played chess or whatever, and he beat my husband. But he tricked me. He was like, "Oh, who you think won? Your husband beat me." I was like, "Ah, you know," and he loved it. Like he thought it was
He
so
won't beat
funny.
me at chess.
And
I can
then
tell
he
you that
just
right now.
like put it in my
Bro,
face. So he loves
D
that.
Styles, don't throw it out there because I know people. I don't know people exactly like Terrence, but if he's what I think he's like, he won't stop until he beats you. It's not about you
He will. He
winning.
won't.
I face the best
He
in the
won't.
state, baby.
No, but
Let's go.
it's
You know what I
He
mean?
really won't.
people like that. It's not about if you can beat them. They
Yes.
will face you every day until they
they
beat
beat
you,
you,
It's
and
so
then they'll
true.
beat you and say they beat you, and then it's
It's so
over, and then
true.
you're gonna talk about how they beat you forever.
yeah.
And even I mean, look at his fights. I mean, people say he starts slow. Well, Errol Spence does too. But like, if Bud gets hit like one good time, you have like awoken a beast, and you better run after that. Like seriously, look at his fights. Go back and look at him, and it's like, oh shit, you know.
Oh shit, motherfucker, goddamn.
Whenever like sometimes like when you know everybody's out in public and somebody's like, "Oh, you wrestle, you know, let's go." He's ready right there. He doesn't care if you're in the UFC, if you're in whatever you are, whatever. I don't know about wrestling, but whatever it is, he's there. He's ready. I've seen him take on like 200-pound guys, and they're on the ground, and they're supposed to be like national champ, this and that. He does not lose. He won't. He will not lose. He doesn't have it in him. He doesn't
He
believe
doesn't.
he'll lose.
Yeah, look, Crawford is just different, and I've known that for years.
He's
You know what I mean?
different
And
because he truly believes that he's the winner and he's the best. And I think
if
that
he
people
was
have that.
as beatable as some people say he is, Spence would have fought him
Yeah.
already. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. Definitely. I want to ask y'all. So Shakur fought what last weekend?
Friday.
And he
Friday.
missed weight. He missed weight. Okay, so I just want to go around the panel. Was this on purpose? Was this not on purpose? Lukie, what do you think?
I mean, look. Reed
he
just
know?
had a child. Benavidez had a child, and now Shakur, I believe he had a child or he has a young family. He's living with his partner, his wife. That plays a role in cutting weight, bro. Like if you're a young father, you're starting a young family, a lot of people miss weights because like you don't have that same comfort, that same sleep schedule. I mean, I don't excuse it, but it's also like this is growing pains of being an adult with a professional occupation. You know, some people can slip up. So
I mean, I'm gonna before I go to the other guest and to Nika. Well, you're not really a guest, Eaststar. You're almost a regular. But so how many guys have newborn babies? And I'm just playing devil's advocate. How many guys have children, have wives, and how many people can use that excuse? And is that really an excuse? Or did you know this
it's
a
zero
week
excuse.
prior and maybe that was part of the strategy?
I mean, I don't like if you miss like your only obligation is to make weight. So like if you miss weight, even if there's a strategy behind missing weight, that's still not a good look because the only thing you have to do for a pro fight is to make the weight. You don't have to
Unless
win.
you knew you were going to move up and you just really don't care
I
about
just
that
think that if you were
because
going to strategically do that, that wouldn't be a good look in your hometown because you rob yourself of the opportunity of a world title fight in your hometown. He went back to Newark with his world titles, but he wasn't able to have a world title defense in his hometown. So I understand there could be a strategy there. I just don't really see that really being a factor because that would have been a great moment for him defending his belts at home in Newark.
or knowing that everybody in Newark loves you and they're going to forgive you, and then you can always go back and run it back and get a world title. Just
I
saying,
mean,
playing
I
devil's
mean,
advocate.
maybe like I mean that could be it. You know, I don't know.
Okay, D Styles, what do you think? Was it a strategy,
Well,
or did he
first of
just like,
all,
fuck it? He was like,
I
wait,
didn't like
wait,
his
y'all.
attitude. Look, his attitude was like, oh well, people want to blame me because I'm growing, and I'm like, shut up, dude. Take the criticism. You miss weight. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about it. But like, here's what I'll say. All right, if we're gonna get on guys that use diuretics to make weight because they don't want to miss the weight, we need to get on guys that don't bother making the fucking weight. Because at the end of the day, you have the same advantage over your opponent on fight night. It's the same thing. They bothered making weight. They killed themselves to make weight. You didn't, right? Whether you use
Yeah.
a diuretic or a stimulant or whatnot to make that weight, or whether you just didn't bother making it, you have the same advantage on fight night over your opponent, right? They have to work that little harder to make the weight you didn't. Whether you cheated it with a diuretic or whether you just didn't bother making the fucking weight. Right? It's the same thing. And if his hypocritical ass is going to get on Valdez about using a stimulant to make weight, then his hypocritical ass needs to take the fucking heat. And just like Valdez, he was bitching and crying about it. After the same opponent, by the way. They both bitched and cried about it, about how they're treated unfairly. And for what? For not doing the minimal thing and making the weight like you're supposed to?
Yeah.
That is unprofessional, and no, it's not normal. For some reason, maybe it's becoming normal, but this was not a normal thing. When I was growing up watching boxing, fighters making weight was just an expectation. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're too big for the weight, you should have done some. Like you should have told Kotsakow a week out, yo, brother, I ain't going to make the weight, so you don't have to bother making the weight
Come
either.
to an agreement, yeah, for sure.
So that's what I have to say.
Can't
And
wait.
and I don't like the whining. Like this like the whining is I criticize Valdez when he whined after the fight. Like, oh, I've been through so much, and I'm going to criticize Shakur the same exact way. Okay, like the dude, and he acted like the victim in all this. How are you the victim in any of this? You're going to get criticized, rightfully criticized. And look, I don't want to get on him too much because it's the first time it's happened in his career.
Because Nike
right?
is about to tear him up.
So, and maybe I need to leave some for Nika. So that's all I got to say. Maybe I'm the nice guy in all this. So go ahead.
You are. Nika.
Well,
I'm
you
kind of
know,
afraid to
I'm
ask
not
your
gonna give
thoughts, but
Shakur a fucking pass for nothing. Sorry. His last fight against Valdez, he already had a baby. His baby was already born. So that's that excuse of having a newborn baby out the window. Your baby was already born when you fought Valdez. So out of there. So I feel like, I know that a lot of these boxers they made fun of all these other boxers who lost their belts on the scale. So I don't want to hear it. And then what really annoyed me was that he knew that he wasn't gonna make the weight. So he made Conceição wait another 40 extra minutes, for him to come into the scale overweight. So that's like the Conceição came in. I know he wants to get ready to eat and replenish his body, and
drink something. That's
you
the
know you
first thing
wasn't
they want
coming
to
in.
do.
You know you was coming in overweight. You made this guy wait another 40 extra minutes. So I don't want to hear it. I'm not giving him a pass. You only have a couple of things to do when you're a boxer. That's to make weight, and that's one of the big things. So, and if I was Conceição, I would have made him pay weight. I don't really know the exact number that it
Well, he
was
could
for
have
him.
walked away and still got his purse.
Yeah, But I would have made him pay way more because, you know, he had the upper hand. He had all the chips in his hand. Like, this was a homecoming fight. You know, this is his first fight in New Jersey. Like, I would have made him pay an arm and a leg to make that fight happen because, like, he honestly didn't try. Like, he didn't try
Yeah.
because, you know, I don't want to hear about him having a new baby. Like, his baby was already born on his last fight. So that excuse, when I hear people say that, like, no, sorry. A lot of these boxers have babies, and his baby was born before his last fight. So get out of here with that. And he's like, oh, I tried my best. Fuck out of here. No, you made this guy wait another 40 extra minutes, and you knew you wasn't gonna make weight. And then when they gave him time to lose more, he didn't even try. He went to go fucking play ping pong and da da da. So it's like, come on, you didn't really give a fuck. So no, Shakur, you don't get a pass from me. Goodbye.
I have to say, HLD and I are always like, we like vibe, like the way he thinks, the way I think. He said missed weight on purpose, had nothing to lose, was going to vacate anyways. Why sacrifice? Plus, he gets the fight at an advantage because he is heavier.
But then why
That's
put the other fighter
exactly-
to put stress on their body like that when you knew that's what you were gonna do? Like that's part of the agreement that you make for a fight. Like, this is the weight that you agreed on, and if you know you're not gonna make it, then then I don't feel like it's fair that the other fighter is stressing his body out to make weight, and you just really don't give a fuck because you already have plans on vacating anyway. So nah, that shit don't fly
Yeah,
with me. I'm
and you know,
sorry.
and I
You
know
do not
some
get
of
a
his
pass from me.
coaches, and I love them. They're awesome. They're great. But I believe that it was a strategy, and it worked. He's still the hero. He's still there, and he's gonna move up. And he is very talented, and he's going to dominate.
And he talks a lot of shit too to be trying to miss weight, and then losing your weight, losing your belts on the scale to me is like the worst thing ever. Like, I swear to God, I wish somebody could make a chart of how many belts the scale has, because the scale has snatched so many belts from these fighters.
Well, I have
really would know the record for the
you
scale.
haven't seen my memes about the scale? Like, I have the scale talking
Oh,
shit
yeah,
to fighters.
Do you have a
there's some
number?
memes.
Do you have a number of like what the
Well,
scale?
not that.
How many scales has the belt one? I mean, how many belts have the scales snatched?
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah,
know they snatched Benavidez belts.
yeah.
They snatched
the thing that that I didn't like was so Keyshawn, who I love, Keyshawn was very happy whenever Shakur was saying that he wanted to fight Devin next, and Devin criticized him and said, and I like Devin, but he was like, "Oh, why are you so happy jumping on this whatever's back? You know, like whatever. We're the same age, we're the same weight. Let's go." And I'm like, okay, so Keyshawn and Shakur, they're bros, man. Like, they've come. I haven't seen them at in the Olympic Training Center spar each other. They are like bros, So that's
but I'm not gonna
first
lie. I don't like the fact that they're saying that they're not gonna fight each other, and then they're like in the same weight class.
Yeah,
like,
but I
come
think
on, give me that best friend shit. Like, this is boxing. I don't want to hear that shit. If you guys are at the top and you guys in the same weight class, you need to fight each other. I don't want to say, oh, I don't want to fight my bestie. Get the fuck out of here with that.
And I think later on it's gonna have to come. But I don't think that Shakur calling out Devin should have Devin jumping on Keyshawn, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think Keyshawn, like, I'm not that. Look, I'm just gonna give a quick. I don't know everything. I just think, like, why is Keyshawn even involved in it to begin with? Like, what?
Well, he just fought. They trained together at times, and he was in the ring. He was supporting his guy. I mean, It's just like if Nika and we start boxing tomorrow, and Nika fights somebody, and I can lose 100 pounds and be at her weight class, and then the person that she fought's like, oh, well, Christine,
just focus on
that. Well, I'm gonna be like backing Nika. So that's the thing. It's like they're tight, So it is what it is.
I'll say this. Look, I'm not giving him a pass, but I will say this. I mean, he's gonna move up. It's the first time it happened, so. But if it happens again,
he don't get a pass from me. I'm sorry.
And somebody said, well, he's not going to pay the price for it. Shout out. Somebody shout out. But somebody always going to pay a price for it. Look,
Yeah.
look. At the end of the day, it's gonna linger for a while. It's linger for Tank and Broner. Like it's not going to go away.
Everybody went in on them, so Shakur need to get the same energy too. Sorry.
Yep.
Dana Jones says, "Don't worry, Stevensons will be dancing with the big boys at 135. Now, good luck. Andy Cruz is coming soon enough." So yeah, because now Cuba, is allowing their guys to be pro, and so we have whole group of monsters coming in, and I'm so excited about that. Really am.
I talked to Rigondeaux like years ago. This was when he first turned pro, and I asked him, how much lost talent is there in Cuba? Because it seems like only the guys in the Cuban team when they're traveling escape, and then you know what I mean?
Yes.
And he said, there's a lot of good Cuban fighters, a lot of them that they're even better for the pros and the amateurs that just get their talent gets lost in Cuba. So the fact that they're allowing them to turn pro, I think that's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. I think the thing is there's a big difference between the amateurs and the pros. And I think that a lot of Cubans have not been hit because they are so good and they are so slick at moving, which in the pros, you slow it down. There's the big shots or whatever. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to adjust to the pro style. But,
for sure,
I'm excited. I'm good for them. They get to do what they want to do.
Look, yeah, sometimes they're just those guys, right, that they're better for the pros than the amateurs.
Absolutely.
And how many of those guys get lost in the shuffle over there?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So before we exit out, did you think that it was fair that Devin Haney was criticizing Keyshawn? I just want to know what your thoughts are, D-Style. And then
I don't know the full story behind that, but if he just criticized him because he's in the ring with Shakur, I mean, that's stupid. If that's the only reason he's criticizing him.
What about you, Nika? What do you think about that?
It was more to that story. His Devin Haney's father was talking shit on some YouTube channel, and he called Keyshawn Davis.
He didn't have his camera on too, and they were like criticizing him about that. What was that about?
No, he was on his camera, but he was calling Keyshawn Davis all types of bitches and all types of stuff. So
what the hell?
Yeah, so rightfully so. Keyshawn's gonna talk his
I don't
shit,
like it when dads talk like that because you're talking, you're like B words and P words, and you're not even the one fighting.
He called him a bitch. Yeah,
damn.
Keyshawn.
So it was definitely more to that story.
He's very strong and he's very talented.
Can I talk about why I was blocked? Real quick. So here's the deal, okay?
What?
Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. So I was blocked by the blonde bomber. She blocked me.
Oh,
okay?
yes, you were.
So like, first of all, I heard from the grapevine it's about a video I made. First of all, find me where I didn't speak any facts. All that shit was fact. I didn't talk about her weigh-ins. I didn't talk about
the truth hurts. The truth hurts.
I didn't talk and here's the thing. This is how you criticize. Don't talk about the easy stuff. It's easy to say, oh, you're in the weigh-in with a thong. Like anybody could say that, and it's easy to counter that. You know what I mean? Like just speak the facts. But here's the reality. She wants to say that Chan O'Connell fights nothing but regional fighters or whatever, right? Okay. Chan O'Connell defeated Tyler Robinson, who was a great amateur, by the way, and is looking really good right now. She was in an Australian team. She was a bronze medal Commonwealth champion. She's looking really good right now, okay? And they had a beef of their own, but that's a different story, okay? And she also beat Sharnika Johnson, who's a current 122-pound IBF champion. She beat her like 2 years ago or something. So that doesn't sound like just somebody. And by the way, she's going to be fighting. She's going to be fighting Susie Q, by the way. But that's an all-Australian match in the undercard of Haney versus Cambozas. I think that's going to be a really good fight, a really tough fight for Susie. But
yes, it is.
She could win it. She could, but Sharnika's good as well. But my point is, I was blocked. I was telling the truth. That's it. And I've always said this. First of all, spare me she's a bully. She was body shaming me. She's a fighter can't bully another fighter, and if you're admitting that, then you're feeling some type of way. Okay, she's not like bullying some like random person in the street or something. Like you have a belt that she fucking wants, but she wants to fight you. Okay, so spare me, your freaking issues or whatever. Okay,
For sure.
All I know is this. Okay, I just want to see the fight. So that makes me a bad guy because I think you should fight your mandatory, right? And there's some fighters
We
out there
should have been
capping.
blocked. Nika, should we have been blocked?
I know I should have been blocked a long time
Me
ago.
too.
But you know what? I might get myself blocked because she has some nerve saying shit like that. When I didn't I send you D-style her, like she was talking. I pulled up an old tweet of her
There's
going
more
in
dirt
on.
I have, but I promise I wouldn't release it.
No,
But she's full of
I'm gonna
shit.
repost it. But she went in on Heather Hardy about posting racy pictures. And girl, how
No,
are
she did
you?
not.
Yes, she had the nerve and the audacity to say, Heather Hardy, I didn't think that you would be posting raunchy pictures like that. Girl, like really?
Well,
Really?
obviously, I'm sure by now she's saying she changed her mind.
Yeah, because Heather checked her ass.
She was like 35
Heather
years
checked
old when
her
she
ass.
said this shit. By the way, she was like 33 when she said this about Heather Hardy. She wasn't in her
Heather checked
20s.
her ass. That's why she changed her tune. Because Heather said, "Oh, you owe me an apology. Remember when you said this? Remember when you said that?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's when I was like, forgive me, pa. Get the fuck out of here."
Like I just laugh at the shit because none of it's that serious to me. You know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, the best woman's gonna win.
I don't care,
right?
but don't criticize other people for doing what
Yeah, like don't
Yeah,
bring
she had the audacity
you.
to tell Heather Hardy that she
and I want to.
She didn't think that she would post raunchy pictures.
Just
like
to take it a step further, when Shannon Courtney, the other Shannon, her fans ran her out of Twitter.
Yeah,
they were going around telling her all types of. She had a Twitter account. She deleted her Twitter account.
And then and she tried to act like she didn't have a hand in that, but she didn't tell those people to stop. She knew what they were doing. They were bullying. Yeah. They were bullying her.
Yeah, and you know what she tries to get like moral support from the other female fighters and tries to tell people to go against the other person. Man, none of that shit matters. It didn't matter when you fought Courtney. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to matter in the ring. Yeah. But I think that here's the deal. Like she's going around saying things that Channel Connell's a terrible person, and why is she a terrible person? Because like let's say Shannon wants to beat her up in the ring. That doesn't make you a terrible person. You're two boxers. You're supposed to want to beat each other up. Like what does that even mean? But the whole thing is stupid, by the way. But all I want to say is that she blocked me even though I never tagged her. I never attacked her personally. I never said anything about her.
She didn't like you putting the truth out
but
there
that
about
says
her.
a lot
That's
about
what it
you.
was.
So you're on the radar. I think that's great. So you're making
she didn't like
these
stop putting the truth about her. That's what that was.
Well, the thing is, I never said shit about her selling socks. I never said shit about her micro bikini thong that she wears, because she likes to say that every fighter takes off their clothes at the weigh-in. Why does everybody come at me like we don't know what the fuck you're doing? Like we don't know your cheeks are all exposed and shit. Like we don't know you have there's a name for it. It's called a micro bikini, a micro thong. Okay, like Canelo takes his clothes off at the weigh. Nobody Canelo doesn't have a micro thong on. As much as Christine would love to see that, he don't do that.
No, because he'll have something else micro to match it. No.
And I don't even give a shit, bro. I don't give a shit if she has a micro thong on. I don't care.
Don't criticize other women.
But then she's in the same breath telling Heather Hardy that she shouldn't be posting raunchy pictures. Girl, keep the same energy,
Oh.
So I just want to say, prayers to Florida.
Oh yes.
Because they're going through it right now. Especially Fort Myers, where Tierra Brown is. She's a police officer. She had to go into work today. They had to help evacuate, and there's houses underwater. I know Nika's in Florida, and thank God that she's okay. Shakura, who's on the show sometimes too, they had to evacuate. So prayers for Florida. We
I
really
saw a lot of scary pictures and video. And by the way,
my area is just getting the outer bands of the hurricane, so we're just getting rain and a little bit of wind. So we were, lucky with that.
So do we need the reporters in the scene, hanging on to trees?
They're sacrificing their lives for that.
People chase tornadoes, hurricane. They're crazy. We're crazy.
Maybe to them that's what they want, but I just don't think it's necessary. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't want to see it because I don't want to see anybody hurt. I really don't. out.
I saw someone
Yeah,
get hit by a
that's
tree. A reporter got hit in the knees by a tree, got up, and I still finished the report. I'm just thinking to myself, why are you putting your life on the line, bro? This is crazy.
Ariane, we're worried about Cuba too, but I personally don't know anybody from Cuba. I do know people from Florida, so I'm concerned about both.
I
Prayers
already
to Cuba
passed
too.
Cuba. Like,
Prayers to whoever is being hit by this. Mexico was too, where my mother-in-law is. So prayers to Mexico,
hmm.
Cuba, Florida, everybody. Next time, give me a
Uh,
list so I'll know because
you,
I don't know
you know,
anybody from
stuff like
anywhere. Because I'm
this.
in
He's a
Dallas,
troll.
Texas.
Don't even respond to
I'm
him.
in
He's a
Dallas,
troll.
Texas. I don't know.
What I will say is this: like stuff like this, it does remind us that there's just more important things in life to worry about and
Sure.
to reflect on than boxing. You know, boxing's we watch it for fun and like you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like that's like a hobby we watch and maybe the best fighters win and all that. But like stuff like this is impacting people's lives. I saw homes like being washed away. Like that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I just hope people are okay.
And then, so we're going to end on a happy note. And so I'm going to go around. And if you want to wish Terrence Crawford a happy birthday, if you have a message for him,
Happy
I'm gonna start.
birthday.
I'm gonna start with D Styles because D
No,
Styles.
like
Give a message for Terrence
Crawford's too
Crawford for his
tough
birthday.
and too savage to have a happy birthday. You know what I mean? Like he's ready to kill somebody. He's ready to destroy somebody in the ring. Like not literally, right?
I
But no,
mean,
no.
yeah, literally.
In all honesty, I mean, look, he's being aged out in real time. It's already his birthday. You know what I mean? Like so. But happy birthday to him. I honestly believe this. Um, Crawford is a young 30. He's 35, right?
Yes.
He's a young
Yeah.
35. And like we
No.
talked about earlier, he's taking care of himself. And as we've known, if you take care of yourself, you could fight for a look. Bihop Fati was 49. You know, I'm not saying
Yeah.
Crawford should fight that long, but he's still really, really young, 35, and I don't see him getting aged out in the next few
Yeah.
years.
For sure. For sure. Nika, you have a happy birthday message for Terrence?
Yeah, happy birthday. I hope we get this fight this year. Um, can I give a little closing? Are we doing closing things too?
Yes, we're doing
Oh, okay.
closing.
So I
Yes.
want to send a shout out to the chupacabras that are always watching me, and who swear I need a fucking filter. You fat fucks!
Girl, you look
Like you
great.
need
You're
to stop
beautiful.
being so obsessed with me. It's unreal how obsessed these chupacabras are with me. It's unreal. Like I'm sorry that I do not need a filter. This is me, no filter. I'm 41. I drink my water. Get off my pussy. All right. Good night.
Water is key and sunscreen.
Yeah.
Water and sunscreen. I'm way older than you. Water and sunscreen. I'm telling
Fat
you.
fucks.
And
Um,
I just want to say one more thing. So,
okay.
not about the chupacabras, but
About the chupas.
Stay away from chupacabras.
like yeah, no, I stay away. It's bad for my eyes. But here's what I would say. So, um, tomorrow is a big show. It's a 100th episode of the Round Table.
Oh, I love
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yes.
100 episodes. So
Yes.
everybody make sure you tune in. That's E-Style Boxing. Christine's invited if she wants to come on. She will
Uh-huh.
always be the queen of the round table, right? She was the first ever to come on as a woman. So you're invited
As
if
a
you want to come on as
woman.
well.
As a woman.
That's right.
Actually, I have a birthday party tomorrow, so you probably don't want me on because I will probably be like,
It's all
but,
good.
but,
You'll be on the future one though.
absolutely, absolutely, yes. Um, and I just want to thank you all, and I want to say happy birthday to Bud. He's probably living it up right now, and thinking about his next prey that he's going to conquer and beat. But I will say this too: next time you play my husband at chess, he's going to whoop your butt. Saying, I'm just saying. And thank you all for joining in. I really appreciate it so much. And you know what? The longer we do this and the better we get, there are going to be chupacabras and everything else that have something to say. But you know what?
Yes, these two girls are obsessed. They're two linebackers. They need to be, on somebody's field, blocking on the offensive line or defensive line. Like, stop worrying about me. But you know what? I know that you probably one of our viewers on here. So yeah. Hello. Thank you for the view. But I'm
D-Style
sorry
will
that I
say
don't need a filter. You are so
at
pressed
all. She's gorgeous.
that I'm
You're gorgeous,
41 and that
darling.
I
You're
look like
gorgeous.
this.
I mean, I
Fat
don't need a
fucks.
filter either. I just wanted to
Oh,
throw it out.
I don't have the patience. It's unreal.
D-Style, hold on. D-Style, if you get like a drunken video about congratulations, 100th episode, yeah, you probably will get one tomorrow, but it's all good. It'll be all good.
It's all good.
Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in, the panel. Oh my gosh. And everybody in the chat, we love you so very much. Ladies, please invest in studio mics like D-Style. Okay.
I think this
You know
mic
what?
sounds just fine. Like the
No.
plug-in mics
No.
like this are good.
I actually have one. I do have one.
But it messes up. It
Sometimes
messes.
it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And,
But if you want to donate, honey, you can definitely do that, and we will definitely accept.
Yes, I look. See, put that comment. Mike, see me in person. I don't need no fucking filter, bitch. And I'm gonna stop giving you attention on Twitter because I understand that you need traffic and you need likes on your page because obviously the pictures that you post, you want attention and you don't even get no likes. So
But we're
just
not
keep
doing that no more.
tuning in to see me doing it big, looking the fly bitch that I am.
You are.
See us next
You
week
are.
on Wednesday.
You are. Oh, thank you, Remy. You ladies sound fine. Thank you, Remy. We appreciate you. We love you, brother.
Hey, everybody
Everybody
listen
have a
to
good night.
Gangster's Paradise after the show.
Yeah. Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Rest in peace to Coolio.
Rest in peace, Coolio. My
That's
guy.
so young.
My guy. My guy. Love to love you. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.